La 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 la.
Indeed. Hello, good evening, and welcome.
Tomorrow upon this day. Hark, is that a mellotron I hear?
Don't mention King Crimson.
For today we shall be journeying upon.
Fragile. Yeah?
Yes, Fragile, yes, that's this one. There it is, Fragile. Fitting name, coined by Bill Bruford. This is... well, things have happened since the last album, since the Yes album. Tony Kaye has been departed, and been replaced by Rick Wakeman, and that led to a change of sound. But importantly, the sound of the band, from those three guys really, and Wakeman, to a certain extent, is a unique sound. It's nothing like Metallica. It's a very, very crisp and very tight sound. You've got the heavy bass, and you've got the soft guitar, and you've got the jazz drums. And what's happened is it sounds it's like rock music made of glass. It's completely unique in that sound there. This one and that one there, like that. That's what it's like.
I've noticed a definite change. Upon first hearing, you think, meh, but then when you think back, you think actually that was okay. That was pretty good. But I'm still looking for one standout track, and I don't. There isn't one on here for me.
That is interesting. That's very interesting. Well, allegedly they spent so much money on Rick Wakeman's stuff, all his keyboards and Moogs and whatever, that they had to make an album to go with it. Thus, this album of 9 tracks has 4 songs on it, and you have 5 solo tracks, solo band member tracks, which is controversial. What it does, it makes it work as a whole. Completely unlike the Yes album, this is one album that works from start to finish. It's one piece. This is the album that Jack Black gives to the kid in School of Rock. He gives it to the keyboard player because obviously at this point, they're a keyboard-dominated band all of a sudden, whereas the Yes album was a guitar-dominated thing. They're not a guitar-dominated band. The guitar's there in the sound. They're a keyboard band. Such is prog.
I should like this then.
Yeah.
With my that.
But having said that, I think it's as much a bass album of bass, than it is a keyboard album. So yeah. So first song.
Roundabout.
This is their famous song. It got played on FM radio and whatever. A really good riff, and like I was saying about that sound, that tight sound, it's there straight away on that riff. It sounds great. The sound of it is great. The production as well. Kind of an intro to prog. Not necessarily the best intro to prog because it's kind of cartoon prog. It sounds proggy, but it's actually not that complicated. Ironically, a Rick Wakeman Hammond solo, which is interesting, and some nice neoclassical guitar stuff going on, possibly influenced by Wakeman, maybe.
Yeah, it starts strong. The good thing about it is it starts strong. You got that nice little plinky intro,
yeah,
which is really appealing, and you also notice that the vocals aren't quite as jarring as they were on the previous album.
I think they're just better.
Yeah.
I think they're just more. They've developed the
either the balance is right, or they're getting
both.
Yeah.
Hello.
The progginess probably comes from the fact that it's a constructed piece, and it's like a couple of disparate parts.
Yeah.
That come and go.
It does have sections.
A very very proggy thing to do. But I don't mind it. I mean, apparently I read the story behind the song. It was about some trip or something, like some car trip from north of Scotland to the north of England, and there was a roundabout with loads of traffic on, which seems a really peculiar thing to write a song about, and it doesn't evoke that type of imagery.
I don't think that's even important.
No, it doesn't matter if you can sort of once you know that kind of, if anything, it ruins it a little bit because you think, what the frick, you're writing a song about that for, but it kind of works.
Yeah. I think the lyrics are different to other Yes songs in that it's not something that's trying to evoke something profound or sort of romanticism. It's just kind of rock and roll nonsense.
Yeah, you've got to ask yourself, who gets stuck in a traffic jam and thinks, oh, this is a good song.
I'll be a roundabout. The words will make you out and out. Right, next song.
Cans and Brahms.
Cans and Brahms. This is the Rick Wakeman solo track because he was still stuck in a, as is the tradition, he was stuck in a contractual obligation and couldn't have a writing credit on the album. He did write stuff on the album. The stuff on there he definitely wrote. He didn't write this because it's Brahms. Ba ba da ba da.
I don't think it works. I think it gets in the way. I'm frustrated at this point. It's just sort of, yeah.
Ding 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 ding.
Okay. Let's have a bit of baroque piano work.
It's basically rubbish.
Yeah.
Which leads us on to We Have Heaven. Tell the moon, don't tell the marcher. Tell the moon dog, tell the marcher. Tell the moon dog, tell the marcher. Well, they did that a bit. Yeah, this is John Anderson solo. It sounds like John Anderson solo. It is definitely the John Anderson thing without the rest of the band. It really is a John Anderson solo song, so it is silly.
It is silly. And I was horrified the first time I heard it. Just that repeating over and over again. But there's sort of some haunting vocals in the background. By the end, this is one that on reflection I actually thought was quite good. And as soon as I finished listening to the album the first time, this was the first track I put on again.
Goodness me.
That is, and it surprised me as much as it surprised you. But it's Cans and Brahms was pointless. This is kind of pointless, but not in a bad way.
Yeah. It introduces the next song. It works on the album.
Yeah,
and that's cool.
Yeah.
And then we slam the door and make it shut up and run away. And your footsteps.
Yeah, which maybe that left good because it reminded me of Monty Python.
Yeah.
Maybe that left me in a good.
Remember, this is the time of Monty Python and stuff. Yeah.
And that brings us on to track 4.
Yeah.
Same side of the sky.
Yes. Right. This is a whole new thing, and We Have Heaven works as a fantastic overture to that because it's so light and fluffy and whatever. This is it's a rock song, and for that reason it's more accessible than some of the other stuff. It's your 3-part rock song with the middle section and the heavy riff bit either side of it. I think there's a couple of really important parts in there. I mean, it's interesting. For the first time we hear John Anderson doing something that isn't quite so hippie. He's singing rock music, and there's even a phasing effect on his voice and stuff like that. But importantly is the piano seeds, obviously written by Wakeman, obviously work really well, and it holds the whole thing together. And it's a piano solo. That first bit, it is a piano solo, but you don't think, oh right, there's a piano solo now, which is what happens in ELP. You think, right, he's doing his piano solo now. It just fits into the song perfectly. The other bit is at the very end. You've got the heavy riff going, and you've got Steve Howe's guitar on top, and of course it's he's got his very clean sound. It's very frail and fragile, and that's what the album's about. And that's quite profound. On the top of that heavy stuff, you've got this fragile guitar. It's brilliant, and it fades.
It's a bit of a mixed bag, I think. Now you say it starts with a piano solo. I seem to recall it starts.
Oh no, it starts with drum. No,
I was going to say, yeah.
After the first section, you've got a piano solo seed into the choral.
And that's a lovely bit of piano.
Lovely bit of piano.
Lovely bit of piano.
Nice bit of piano.
And the bow 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 bass and the drumming is very good.
Yes.
To start with. And it does win me over about halfway through. I'm won over on the song. Mm-hmm. I do quite like it. And again, it's another one that I went back to. Too noticeable.
I keep going, eventually at the end of the album, I'll be hello.
Track 5, 5% for nothing.
5% for nothing. This is Bill Bruford's solo thing. I think, is it 55 seconds long? Is it? How long is it?
36 seconds.
36 seconds. For very, very short. It's the most unpopular track on the album. Most people don't like it because it's just some noise, isn't it? It's just noise, but it's. I mean, I like it, and it. You were talking about songs without meaning. It has meaning. 5% for nothing. It's because he's annoyed with the music industry and his manager taking 5% for What is he doing for 5%? So that's all right, and it's not a song. It's just an idea, and I think that's why people don't like it. It isn't a song. It's not meant to be a song, is it? It's just an idea. That's the idea. Finished. 36 seconds.
I've got one word on my notes for this. Noise. Long distance runaround.
Long distance runaround, yeah. Now, long distance runaround. This is the third proper song on the album. I think it's different because there's something very contrived about it. So with South Side of the Sky, that's almost a normal rock song, and it's come out like a normal rock song because that's what they wrote. But the long distance runaround it's deliberately obtuse and unrock.
There is a bit of goodness in there, but I don't like the badness.
You don't like the badness. The badness is pretty bad.
It seems to be goodness sandwiched by badness. It seems that John Anderson's really sort of winning me over with this album, which I did not expect.
That's interesting.
I mean, the goodness probably isn't that good, but in comparison to the badness,
It's a good badness.
yeah, it gets a bump up from the badness, and it merges into the next song.
Yeah, so the next song,
Which
they go together.
Yeah.
Completely. They're sometimes played alone, but usually played together. The Fish, on bass, Chris Squire, on bass, Steve Howe, on bass, John Anderson, on bass, Rick Wakeman, on bass, Bill Bruford. Not really, but I think there's at least 3 bass guitars on there.
For me, is probably my favourite piece on the album. Yeah.
That's interesting. Really good.
It is a musical medley.
With
Keeps the
bass.
vocals to a minimum.
It does, yeah. Named after Chris Squire. I think Bill Bruford said he used up 75% of the band's resources and would spend most of his time in the bath. And none of the best of the band would get a bath because he would be in the bath. That's why he's called The Fish.
Shorty one that goes into Mood, track 8.
Yep, Mood for a Day. Another solo guitar. Different from Clap from the previous album because it's more neoclassical. Although it actually came from another section of that which wasn't on the album.
Nice lutey mandolin type stuff.
It's of the solo stuff. That's my favourite one.
Yeah.
Heart of the Sunrise.
Track 9.
Right, this is where it gets difficult to review. I think whatever Yes had, their mojo in the mid-70s, whatever that thing was that they had that was profound, it starts with this song. You've got a heavy riff, juxtaposed with a soft vocal and then a more epic vocal. You've got this intro section, which is stop-start drumming along this great bass line, and that's one of my favourite bits of Yes, I think. Not repeated. Music, though, the feel of the music, the journey of the music. What is it about? I think this is the start of John Anderson really applying his hippie ideals, his bits of Buddhism and things like that, and it's about the juxtaposition of mind and heart, and so you've got the heavy riff, which represents the dark or the mind or whatever, and you've got the soft vocals, which represents the heart. And the lyrics talk about references to a city, so and John Anderson is also interested in sun worship. There's lots of stuff about sun worship as well, so maybe it's the sort of the sunrise and the darkness of the city and the sort of battle between the two, not like a war, but kind of more psychological than that, and the two meeting at the end, and the sun wins. Worship the sun. And then the door opens again, and tell the moon, dog tell the marcher, tell the moon, and then it ends.
Morphs into this cool sort of 70s cop show type music, which I actually quite like. That fast drumming bit at the beginning, that comes back in a few times in the song.
Yeah.
And that feels a little bit derivative of Schizoid Man to me.
Yes, and that's what people say about it. I think it's much more like another King Crimson song on their second album, actually. But it is, that's definitely inspiration.
Yeah. And it all hangs together pretty well, actually.
Yes.
It is a good song. All in all,
Fragile.
it's not a bad collection of songs, actually.
Yes.
It definitely represents a step up from the last album. Mm-hmm.
For join us on the next week. Join us for Close to the Edge.
Yeah.